Welcome stylists, barbers, isties. You are now tuned into the I'm for Salons Content and Mindset podcast. A place where we break down the mindset and motivation it takes to grow your beauty business. Here's your host, 13-year marketer, world-traveling award-winning artist and musician, the brain behind the brand, Freddie D.
Hello, everybody, and thank you again for joining us on the Mindset and Content Podcast brought to you by the team at I'm for Salons. I am your host, Freddie D, and today we have a wonderful guest. We have Krista McLellan all the way from New Hampshire. So, look, we're going to hit all 50 of those states here soon on this podcast. But, Krista, can you please introduce yourself and tell the crew a little bit about yourself?
So I'm a bookkeeper by trade, and I call myself the accidental bookkeeper because like who grows up saying I want to be a bookkeeper?
Yeah.
Not me, but I fell into it, and it seems to be a family thing because now my daughter is actually a CPA. My mother did bookkeeping. I have a sister who like it's all of us. This is what we do. It's in our blood, I think.
Hmm.
And my life took a turn when my husband passed away from cancer 11 years ago, leaving me as a single mom. And I realized at that point how much I had my head in the sand. And I think it's funny that I now, well, it's not funny, haha, but ironic that I help people with money when I myself did not handle my money well in the beginning. And I think that part of where I come from is that I've been there. There's no shame, no blame. I used to hide my car from the repo man. I had no clue what I was doing when I started. So this is all from helping myself and then helping others. I've helped over 200 businesses and many more individuals, and my own children learn how to handle money and keep more of it.
I love that. I love that. So there's something that you mentioned in there. It's like that. I want you to talk a little deeper, if you like, about the hiding the car from the repo man, stuff like that. A lot of people are shameful about that, but I come from beginnings that I understand that as well. And it's like there's some people who never have the luxury of living that life, and they are like, I'm a successful business owner, but it means something when you came from that. So if you could just talk about like that journey and the mindset that helped you evolve.
So I grew up as a child of a single mom and knowing what it was to penny pinch. And my mom actually did the books for my grandfather, who owned a trucking company, and this is where I learned my lovely vernacular was in the trucking grounds. And I talk a lot with people about that because my grandfather always said, look at these guys will come in and they'll curse a blue streak and they'll use the F bomb. However, they won't ask me about their paycheck. They're
Mhm.
not, people aren't comfortable talking about money. And grew up with a single mom. You know, I knew money was tight. And then when I got married, those traditional, I'm in my 50s, so those
Mhm.
traditional things about the man takes care, he's the breadwinner, he takes care of the money. So I just had my hands off, right? He took care of it. I worked, but he was the breadwinner.
Mhm.
Um, and then when he got sick and things came crashing in, and I realized how little I knew about
Mhm.
our own finances, and I realized all the things that we should have done to protect
Mhm.
ourselves. And I realized like it was not a good time in my life. And then the first winter, he was gone, and I'm in New Hampshire. It gets
Mhm.
cold,
Mhm.
right? And I'm sitting here trying to figure out I need tires because it also gets icy. I need new tires so that we can be safe, but I need heat. How do I pay for it? And when my kids give me their Christmas cards because I didn't have the money, they gave me their Christmas cards and said we wanted tires for Christmas. Like
Mhm.
that was such a gut punch. And I vowed at that point, I felt like Scarlett O'Hara vowing to never be poor again. I
Mhm.
vowed to really get out of that hole and to understand what the heck is going on, that where's my money going?
Mhm.
And, you know, I sat down with my children. I said, okay, we can let our house go and go live with Nana, or we can give up some of the other stuff and keep our house. And you can stay with your friends and stay in the school district. But, you know, this is going to have to be a team effort. It's and you're gonna have to understand that mommy's not saying no to be mean. It's because we don't have it, and we've made a choice to give up some of those luxuries to stay in our home. And so we gamified it. And, that turned into me helping other businesses and helping other families and how to dig out of debt and how to deal with your cash flow. And you'd be surprised how many business owners have no idea how to understand cash flow or to read their financials in a way that will make them more profitable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's my whole thing is how do we take these reports? How do we use these numbers and make it so we can keep more of our money that we have worked
Mm.
our butt off for?
I love that. I love that. It's something that you hit on in there that I want you to talk a little bit more on. You said that it's that point when you recognize that you have an issue with your finances, and a lot of our hairstylists sometimes might not notice they have an issue with their like with their finances. And I know one of the memes that they always post is hairstylist math, like if you pay cash it doesn't cost money. So I would love
Right?
for you to talk about how do people acknowledge that they actually have an issue with their finances and start going that route of changing that issue within their life.
So my question is, do you dread tax season?
I personally do most times.
That is a huge red flag to tell you that you are not in a good place with your finances.
Mhm.
If you at the end of the year are like, oh shit, right? You're doing the oh shit dance.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you're like, okay, now I have to get it all together because you haven't done your work through the year. So now at the end of the year, you're slamming it in.
Mhm.
That means that you are not in a good place with your finances because you should know. And I hate the word should because we don't want to should on ourselves, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But knowing each month, each week, how much you brought in and what your profit was, how much you get to take home, what you should be pricing your services at, because hey, we all know electricity's gone up, rent has
Mhm.
gone up, insurance has gone up. Have your prices gone up to reflect that?
Mhm.
You have to, otherwise you're losing money.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you know how much you're supposed to be putting aside each month for your taxes? Because
Mhm.
that's based on those reports. And if you don't know, let's get you there.
Mhm.
Because that's a powerful tool. It's huge.
100%. I know that you have a motto, and the motto is get comfy with the F word and how to
Yeah.
understand money. Could you please explain that for our crew?
So we talked about how I touched on how my grandfather, I grew up in the trucking yard and I learned how to curse. And my grandfather would always say, they're not comfortable talking about money, but they're really comfortable with that F word, aren't they? Because he
Mhm.
felt bad that us little girls, I was like 5, 6 years old,
Mhm.
counting pennies for him and rolling them into, remember the old coin roll
Mhm.
wrappers?
Mhm.
And we would count and he said they're very comfortable with that F word, but not this one. Their money, their finances.
Mhm.
And so that's always stuck with me. And so I teach how to get comfy with the F word. How to talk about money, not just in our business, but with our spouses, with our children. Because if you have a bad money situation in your salon,
Mhm.
it's going to affect your finances at home.
Mhm.
And if you have a problem with your finances at home, it's going to affect your work, your business finances as well. They're like best friends, they go hand in
Mhm.
hand. So we need to be able to talk to the landlord, talk to if we have booth renters, talk to our clients, be able to be comfortable raising prices, talk to vendors to negotiate better rates, talk
Mhm.
to our spouse, our partners about where we're at and what we need to do and come to the table to make it better. And be able to understand accountant speak, right? Because they
Mhm.
say these things and you're like, I have no idea what you said because it sounds like Ferris Bueller, that Bueller, Charlie Brown's mother. You have no
Mhm.
idea what the heck they just said, but you're guessing them.
Mhm.
So let's translate that into everyday language to make it powerful for you so that you have that, you know what they're saying and you don't just yes them. And then you can actually disagree with them. Because when
Mhm.
you know what they say, you can disagree with their assumption of your business.
Mhm.
Because if you go to your taxpayer, they don't know the all the nooks and crannies and nitty gritty of your business. They're making assumptions of this whole higher view picture, and
Mhm.
you may need to disagree with them on some of the nitty gritty.
Mhm.
And when you know what they're saying and you know your numbers, you can do that, which will save you taxes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's smart. That's smart. I've never broke it down into the aspect of because I mean I've been a business owner for 13 years, but it's funny whenever you talk to someone new, you get their outlook. and you get their feedback on their life, because you mentioned like the breaking down of the month, breaking it down to the week, to the day, that you should know exactly how much you're making. And then I know a lot of my friends definitely can't tell you what they made this week or even how many customers they serviced this week. And I always want to ask, like, is there a method that you as a bookkeeper would recommend that people use to track their finances? Because I know there's the QuickBooks out there. I know some people use Google Sheets. I know some people just carry around receipts in their back pocket. So I always like to figure out what is the best way that our community should be tracking their finances to get more closer to financial freedom.
Well, first of all, I'm going to sound like an accountant and say it depends. It depends on what you're actually going to use.
Mm,
If you get a tool and you're not going to use it, what's the point, right?
mm,
Find out what you're going to use. I am a QuickBooks Online geek. I love it because the technology does most of the heavy lifting,
mhm,
and when it's set up right, it just basically does a lot of the work for you,
mhm,
so that you don't have to go in and do a lot of that stuff. I
mhm,
love the way technology works. However, if you're not comfortable using that, but you are comfortable with a spreadsheet, a Google Sheet, then use that.
mhm,
I think that inputting things manually is crazy. That's a
mhm,
lot of time, which is why I do love QuickBooks Online. And I love to, I am, I teach myself out of a job a lot of times. I will empower that business owner to not need me all day long. I will not
mhm,
keep that information, because if you want to do it, that's awesome. The more
mhm,
you know, the more you can do yourself, the less you need me, the better job I've done.
mhm,
But tracking, any way that you want to track your income and track your expenses. And that's all accounting is. Where did it come from? Where did it go to? That's all we're tracking. Came from your client. It went to Salon Centric. Am I dating myself? A Cosmoprof? I think I might be dating myself there. Where did it come from? Where did it go to? It came from your personal account because the business didn't make enough and went into your business account to pay the rent.
mhm,
That's all accounting is tracking and knowing where did it come from, where did it go to. And when you start to track, you start to know what's going on. You're more aware of where you're spending. And then you can ask yourself, did I want to spend it there? Do I still want to spend it there? Did spending it there serve me? How
mhm.
much did I, how much did that $200 ad bring me in? And oh wow, I didn't realize I spent that much on Dunkin's,
Yeah, the Starbucks $6 every day is adding up.
right? And hey, wow, the rate that a customer spends, like the average customer pay,
Mhm,
went down. What happened? How can I bring that back up? Knowing the average customer spend is a huge thing. I did this with somebody who actually decided to leave hairdressing and she was decided to go barbering instead.
mhm,
It was a better rate per hour for her,
mm,
because as a hairdresser, you're spending more time on women, where a barber is like in and out, right?
mhm,
You don't have to
mhm,
wash their hair. You don't have to. So she was like, you know what? I like barbering better because I can go, she can just churn it faster.
mm. Love
Knowing
that.
that, when she saw what she was getting per female customer
Mhm.
versus per male customer, she focused on servicing men.
So,
She's now doing much better financially.
could we talk about that shift right there? Like when people should know they need to pivot in their career, because that right there not only is an emotional decision, but a business decision, but it also is a full financial decision.
Yeah. And if
So,
you don't track, so most of you have software that when people make appointments, and most of you have software, so you know what you're making for the color, for the hair, like where is your profit centers? And if you track your profit centers, which is, I like to break it out, and even my estheticians, like the lashes versus the eyebrow wax versus the facials versus, and then you go into the is it a wash and cut or the colors, like where am I making my money?
mhm,
And how does that translate into a per hour rate for me?
mhm,
And do I enjoy it? So there's the two, right? It's the how much am I making and do I love what I'm doing?
mhm,
So there's people that absolutely love that constant, because women are needier. Sorry, we get in the chair and we talk and we gossip and we unload all of our crap on you guys.
mhm,
I swear it's a therapy session for us as we go in, and you guys take it all. But some of you all might not really enjoy that part of your job.
mhm,
And some of y'all might love it. So knowing where your joy is of what you do combined with what you want to earn, that's where your sweet spot is. Where is the biggest profit center for the thing that you love doing the most? So ranking how much you're making, knowing, and I would do it from what you love, rank it all the way down to what you don't like, or love the least. And then what you make the most at, ranked down to what you make the least at. And then you say, okay, how do we make a decision now on what I'm going to focus my salon at or my work on?
That's a good
And we
that's
need,
a good look.
yeah, it helps because you can do more of what you love and make more money.
Mhm. Mhm. I love that. And Krista, do you have I guess a book, a podcast, resource, or a quote that you live by? And why do you resonate so much with that quote?
Um, money and money and time should be spent on paper first,
Mm.
right? Everything I do not spend, I have a plan for my money. So every month I make out a money plan. Some people call it a budget. I call it a money plan. This is how much I anticipate coming in. This is I call them, we do the must do's before the want to's, right?
Mhm.
So where does it have to go first? Like the mortgage, the electricity, the insurance. And what do I have left over for where I want to spend? So we
Mhm.
have a little more say in, how much we spend on food and clothing,
Mhm.
entertainment, that type of thing. So I do that and I spend it on the paper first because that's my
Mhm.
game plan. Now, it's a game plan doesn't mean it all goes according to plan. Sometimes we
Mhm.
mess up. Sometimes something will cost more. There's an oopsie that comes in. That happens.
Mhm.
But the same thing with your time. Every Sunday night, I look at my week and I plan out my days of when I'm going to accomplish certain things. What are
Mhm.
the most important things this week that I need to accomplish?
Mhm.
When am I going to do it? Let's prioritize that. The other thing is doing the hardest thing or the thing that you're putting off doing that first and getting it out of the way makes everything else cakewalk.
So, how do you maintain a balanced mindset when dealing with those high stress situations or burnout?
Um, I play. I play is what I
Mhm.
do. I love to four wheel in the when it's not cold out. I love to snowmobile. I do love to walk. When my mind starts to should on me,
Mhm.
I'll go for a walk. I'll take a breath. I'll realize that, hey, nothing is forever. Hard times are not forever. And we do have a lot of control over our lives.
Mhm.
We can be intentional with our time. We can be intentional with our money.
Mhm.
We can be intentional with who we spend time around. And if someone or something is stressing me out or causing me to have, you know, be in a bad place, I'm not going to do that.
Mhm.
And I intentionally, my children are now grown and out of the house, which
Mhm.
is very strange. That just happened this summer.
Mhm.
It's very, very odd not to have them with me. Um, I intentionally plan time with them.
Mhm.
My husband and I'm remarried now. Got married in May. We have date night. It's not always going out. Sometimes it's, Netflix and chill, but we intentionally book time together.
Mhm.
I intentionally have girlfriend time.
Mhm.
Actually tonight is one of them. We're doing a potluck tonight. It's our Friendsgiving. But
Mhm.
I have time every month. I have time with my girlfriends.
I love that. I love that. One of the questions that comes from our community, we had someone ask about they personally are a booth renter in a small business, and they want to know their friend just mentioned that there's these things called write-offs,
Oh,
and
yes.
they want to know what a small business owner can even classify, not too deep, but like what is a write-off in comparison to someone who is an employee who doesn't get that write-off?
Okay, this is where I geek out. I love the tax code. So first of all, you are a business owner, even if you didn't mean to be, even if
Mhm.
you're not intending to be, if you're getting paid and it's not on payroll, meaning taxes taken out of your paycheck.
Mhm.
If you're getting paid, I don't care if you sold something on Etsy, I don't care if you're teaching somebody or as soon as you make money and
Mhm.
it's not on payroll, you are self-employed,
Mhm.
which is a good thing because guess what? The tax code was written for business owners.
Mhm.
We get to take all sorts of deductions. So for me, Your cell phone, right? That's a business deduction because most of us do our business on the cell phone, right? We're
Mhm.
calling people, we're texting, our calendar, whatever, it's on our cell phone.
Mhm.
And I actually, if you go to, I'll put the link for you to share. I have a free download
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
all. It's called all about deductions. Deductions and write-offs are actually the same thing, and it doesn't take what you would pay in taxes and reduce it that exact amount. What it does is it takes what you made. So say you made $100,
Mhm.
right? Let's say you're selling pizzas. You sold that pizza for $100, but it cost you $50 to get all the supplies to make the pizza.
Mhm.
Well, that means you only earned $50.
Mhm.
So all the supplies that it took to make that pizza, all the supplies you all have in the hair salon, the back bar, all these, those are all expenses that you can deduct. If you're a booth renter, some booth renters have their own back bar and bring their own products, others don't.
Mhm.
So it depends on what your salon's doing. But the booth rent, the mileage to and from the salon, your cell phone, any education that you're doing, any of the supplies, if you have any programs, like so you did get QuickBooks Online, there's a deduction again. Um, and if from Mile IQ, by the way, if you're tracking mileage, which you should, Mile IQ is the only one that the IRS will look at and not roll their eyes. And this came from an IRS agent, just so you know. I have brought all sorts of different mileage tracking things. They love Mile IQ because it shows where you started, where you ended. It sums up. It's a report that you don't mess with, that they can just read and they know. And it's 65 cents a mile right now. So
Mhm.
every New Year's Eve, do yourself a favor, take a picture of your odometer because that is your ending mileage for the year and your beginning mileage for next year. And you need that for your taxes. So mileage is huge. Trying to think what else as a booth renter. If you get aprons, for when you do colors, the gloves, the aprons, all those things, those are all expenses that reduce your income that is taxable.
Okay,
If you
so
do ads, advertising, Facebook ads,
mhm.
any of the, if you bought a computer or laptop so that you can invoice people or do, those are all office expenses for you.
So something I want to transition into because now that they know that they have expenses, these booth renters and small businesses, now it's like, how do they confidently know their worth and charge their worth? Because a lot of the people, like the people who work at the salons, they have the system that's created and it works for them. But the people who are starting up their businesses or starting up estheticians or even barbers, how do they know what to charge and how do they confidently charge
Well, first, know where you're at and what the going rate is, right? Up here in New Hampshire, going rate is not the same as in Boston.
it? Mm-hmm.
It's not. You can't charge the same up here that you can in Boston. So you have to know what the going rate is in your area
Mm-hmm.
so that you can be competitive, right? And if you're brand new, typically you're going to charge a little less until you really get a good clientele and you get a name for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But now when you look at your profit and loss, which is profit and loss is just your income, what you earned minus those expenses, right? So then we look at that, it's like, okay, how much did I earn? And if you look at your total income before your expenses, your total
Mm-hmm.
income, now you know how much did I make per hour
Mm-hmm.
before my expenses? And then you do it again after expenses and you see how much you made per hour. And you're like, okay, I need to bridge that gap a little bit. And how much do you need? This is the big thing that I do for myself. How much do I need to take home to pay my bills? If you don't know that number, let's please let's work together. Like drop me a
Mm-hmm.
memo or whatever. I will give a free phone call to give you some homework to do and get you some steps so that you know where you're going. Because that's a big thing. How much do I need to earn?
Mm-hmm.
When you know how much you have to earn to cover your own bills, that's your starting point of, okay, this is how much I need to work. This is how much I need to make per hour.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how much I need to charge.
That's the perfect system. And like I said, I'm over here taking notes myself because it's like, okay, I could refine my system and make it a little better too. So thank you for that note. So, what we want to ask now is what is next on your agenda? So, you are motivating people, you're inspiring people, you're helping hundreds of thousands of people get their taxes right. What is next for you?
So just to be clear, I am not a tax preparer. I did get certified. I love the tax code, but I found out that I hated actually doing taxes.
Mm-hmm.
I like knowing the tax code to benefit my clients, but that's where the fun ends for me. Like I don't want to prepare taxes. So, my I geek out on helping people really streamline their back office processes on being able to track this stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, QuickBooks Online all the way. I did write, and I can drop the link for it. I did write a book, an ebook called Getting Comfy with the F Word,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about, and it's got worksheets and everything else for you to actually understand your money situation and take charge of it, because taking control of it is huge. Knowing where
Mm-hmm.
you stand and then deciding where you want to be and how to get there is the whole point of my ebook.
Mm-hmm.
And also handling your debt, because debt'll sink you. So how do we
Mm-hmm.
get you out of debt? And I did that very well with my children and I. It's not that I don't believe in debt, because I do have a car loan. I do use credit cards, but I pay them off every week
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to pay the high interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're gonna pay way more for what you bought. So I'm not a fan of paying more than I have to. I like to keep my money.
Yeah, I
You
do
know?
too. I do too. That's what I
So
said. We.
yeah, no debt. Just say no to debt. Debt means don't even think about it. Don't
Mm-hmm.
buy that. Do not buy that. So but yeah, I would say get QuickBooks Online, right? You can get it for pretty cheap. They have a new one called Ledger, and it's for people that aren't invoicing clients, right? It has no customer facing anything. It's just to be able to track your income and expenses.
Mm-hmm.
They used to have something called Mint for personal finances, but they're not continuing that anymore. So I don't want anybody to go and get it and then know that it's going to be gone. But I do like Ledger. I love QuickBooks Online for what it offers for business owners. Um, you want to know where you stand, and you want to know that every month.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait to the quicker you do this. No one ever regretted taking control of their money. I know it's scary. You don't have to do it in one day. Do it in baby steps. The first step would be gather all your bank statements and credit card statements. That's just step one. Put them in one place. You don't even have to look at them. Just
Mm-hmm.
put them in a pile. Just gather all your credit card and bank statements,
Mm-hmm.
right? The next step would be, I would say, get QuickBooks Online. And I would love to help anybody set that up, because once it's set up, you really won't need me. Most people that get me to set it up for them talk to me 2 or 3 times a year. That's all they need me for. And then start tracking, right? Once you
Mm-hmm.
start tracking and seeing where you spent it, you can be more intentional. And once you see, hey, wow, now you can see you guys all get wicked busy in the summer with all the weddings, but then it gets quiet, right, in January, February. So now you know you need to make more in those busy times to put away to make it through the quiet times of January, February,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? So you can be more intentional, like, okay, this is what I need for the whole year. And so I have this great boom over the summer, but how much do I need to put aside for those quieter months so that we're not struggling then?
Smart, smart. So we gotta ask, what motivating words or encouraging words do you have for our listeners to send them off?
That it's not that you're not good with money. So many people I talk to say that they're not good with money. It's not that you're not good with it. You've never been taught. You've never been shown. And once you're shown how easy it can be, you're going to have so much more confidence in yourself and in your business. And that's just going to bring you more money, more profit, more success. So I say get comfy with the F word.
I love it.
It's your friend.
It is definitely your friend.
It is.
S-
Understanding it and being able to take control of it, like that just gives you so much more freedom. I've been poor. It's not fun to be poor. It's not fun to not be able to pay the electric bill, or get your kid. I couldn't get my kids winter coats. We were living on other people's hand-me-downs because I couldn't. It's not a fun place to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. You deserve to have all of the wealth that you dream of.
Mm-hmm.
You deserve it. You're allowed. You just have to create it, and it's there.
It's a good outlook on it for sure. Krista, thank you so much for pouring into our community about finances, because financial literacy is key to success. And I know that everybody got some notes in there that'll take them for months now. So
I
we,
will drop you my links so that if people want to book a free call with me, they can. And I'll also have the links for my ebook as well as the free downloads. I have two free downloads. One is all about deductions and the things to think about, and the other one is cracking the code about accountant speak. And it's the
mm,
accountant to English dictionary that I made.
that right there, I want a copy of that. So,
It's free.
all right, perfect. Thank you so much. And truly, I hope you have a beautiful day. And thank you for pouring into us.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey there! Are you tired of spending countless hours creating content with no tangible results? Have you had enough of watching your ad dollars go down the drain? Are you left scratching your head, wondering what to do after taking that perfect snapshot? Well, listen up. We have some exciting news for you. The team at I'm for Salons is rolling out a special offer exclusively for our podcast listeners. Guess what? We're offering you free access to our course community. Yes, you heard it right, absolutely FREE. This typically costs $200 per year, but we believe in empowering you with the right tools and knowledge. It's simple. Use the code FREE2023 to gain free access. Just head over to our website, log in, and introduce yourself. We're all about sharing daily content tips, tricks, and growth techniques. So why wait? Let's kickstart your journey to success together. Your time to shine is now.
Thank you for tuning into the Content and Mindset podcast brought to you by the dedicated team at I'm for Salons LLC. Make sure to follow us on socials at I'm for Salons or on the web at imforsalons.com. Stay motivated, friends. See you next episode.